Right now, somewhere in the world, a complete stranger is listening to music, and their brain is literally rewarding them for it. Their heart rate changes, tiny chemicals flood their brain, their body starts moving almost automatically. Sometimes they even get goosebumps from nothing more than vibrating air, which is honestly pretty weird when you think about it, because music doesn't feed you, it doesn't protect you, it doesn't help you outrun predators, you can't hunt with it, you can't drink it, you can't build a shelter out of it. So why does nearly every human on Earth love music, even stranger? Why does every culture ever discovered, from modern cities to isolated rainforest tribes, have music? Different songs, different instruments, different rhythms, but always music. And by the end of this video, you'll understand how one accidental behavior by prehistoric humans may have changed our species forever. Imagine you're living about 200,000 years ago. No phones, no cities, no Netflix, no Spotify. Honestly, even having dry socks would be considered luxury. Your entire day is about surviving, finding food, avoiding becoming food, trying not to freeze to death. Yet somehow, even these people still found time to sing. That seems almost ridiculous. If survival is all that matters, why waste energy making weird noises? Scientists have wondered this for centuries. Charles Darwin himself admitted that music was one of evolution's biggest mysteries. He even wrote that our ability to enjoy music was among the most mysterious traits humans possess. Basically, even Darwin looked at music and went, yeah, I got nothing. The obvious answer seems simple. Maybe humans invented music because it was fun. Except, evolution usually doesn't keep things around just because they're fun. Our brains are incredibly expensive organs. They consume about 20% of our body's energy. If music served absolutely no purpose, natural selection probably would have ignored it long ago, which means music almost certainly began as something else, something far more useful. To understand what happened, we need to travel much further back, long before humans, long before civilization, even before language itself, because surprisingly, the first musical instrument wasn't an instrument at all. It was the human voice. Every mammal makes sounds. Dogs bark, cats meow, whales sing, monkeys scream. Birds produce songs so complicated they almost sound composed. Sound is one of evolution's oldest communication tools. If something dangerous appeared, making noise could save your entire group. If food was nearby, sound spread the message instantly. Before humans ever spoke words, our ancestors were already communicating with rhythm, pitch, emotion, and timing. In many ways, music may actually be older than language, which sounds backwards. Until you realize babies understand musical emotion long before they understand words. A newborn has absolutely no idea what you're saying, but they instantly know the difference between a soothing lullaby and an angry yell. Our brains seem wired for melody almost from birth. Now imagine hundreds of prehistoric humans gathered around a fire after sunset. The hunt is over. The predators are keeping their distance because of the flames. For the first time all day, everyone can finally relax. Someone starts tapping two rocks together. Another joins in. Someone else claps. Eventually, people begin humming. Nobody planned it. Nobody said, let's invent music. It simply happened. Kind of like how someone probably discovered bread because they accidentally forgot dough existed. Sometimes humanity's biggest inventions begin with someone making a mistake. Here's where things get interesting. When groups clap together, something strange happens. Scientists call it synchronization. Your heartbeat starts matching other people's rhythms. Your breathing changes. Your brain begins predicting the next beat. Even complete strangers begin feeling more connected. Modern experiments have repeatedly shown that people who move together, dance together, or even clap together are much more likely to trust each other afterward. Think about that. Thousands of years before humans understood psychology, evolution had already figured it out. Keeping people synchronized made groups stronger, and stronger groups survived longer. Imagine two prehistoric tribes. One works together perfectly. They hunt together. They defend each other. They move almost like one giant organism. The other group constantly argues. Nobody cooperates. Everyone does their own thing. Which group survives the winter? Exactly. Music may have started as entertainment, but evolution quickly realized it was an incredible teamwork machine. Even today, armies march in rhythm. Workers naturally sing while lifting heavy objects. Sports fans chant together. Religious ceremonies use music. National anthems exist. Concerts fill stadiums with complete strangers singing the exact same words. The technology changed. The purpose barely did. And yet, this still doesn't explain one enormous mystery. If rhythm helped people cooperate, why do melodies make us emotional? Why can a few notes sometimes make grown adults cry? That answer begins with a mother, a baby, and one of the oldest sounds humans have ever made. Think about the very first song you ever heard. You probably don't remember it, but your brain does, because it was most likely your mother's voice. Long before babies understand words, they respond to melody. A parent can sing complete nonsense, and somehow the baby calms down. Scientists have found that newborns can recognize their mother's voice almost immediately after birth. Even more fascinating, they react differently when that voice is sung instead of spoken. Why? Because singing exaggerates emotion. Higher notes signal excitement. Slower rhythms signal safety. Gentle melodies tell the brain, everything is okay. And for a helpless human baby, that message was incredibly valuable. Human babies are, honestly, kind of terrible at surviving. A baby giraffe walks within an hour. Baby horses can run on their first day. A baby human? They can barely hold their own head. If evolution handed out survival trophies, human babies would have finished last, by a lot. There's actually a reason for this. Millions of years ago, our ancestors evolved larger brains. That's great for intelligence, but terrible for childbirth. Babies had to be born earlier in development so they could fit through the mother's pelvis. The result? Humans are born unusually helpless compared to almost every other mammal. That meant parents needed a reliable way to comfort babies without constantly carrying them, and singing turned out to be remarkably effective. Researchers studying cultures from every continent noticed something surprising. Lullabies sound different, yet somehow, they're also incredibly similar. Almost every lullaby is slower, gentler, repetitive, predictable. It doesn't matter whether it's sung in Japan, Brazil, Nigeria, or Iceland. Babies respond to them in almost exactly the same way. It's as if evolution quietly agreed on one universal playlist. But something even stranger happens inside the brain. Whenever people listen to music they enjoy, their brain releases dopamine, the exact same neurotransmitter involved in eating delicious food, winning games, or receiving unexpected rewards. Your brain literally treats good music like something worth surviving for, which raises another strange question. If music only became enjoyable after evolution rewarded us, then what exactly was evolution rewarding? The answer may have been connection. Humans are one of the most social species on Earth. Alone, our ancestors were vulnerable. Together, they became one of the planet's most successful animals. Music strengthened those bonds. Every shared rhythm reinforced cooperation. Every shared melody strengthened trust. Over thousands of generations, brains that enjoyed music may have also built stronger communities, and stronger communities usually survived. Anthropologists have found something fascinating. There has never been a discovered human society without music, not one. Some cultures have no written language. Some never developed agriculture. Some never invented metal tools. Yet every single one made music. That suggests music isn't something civilization invented. Civilization inherited it. Now imagine a hunting group preparing to leave camp. Everyone has a role. Some carry spears. Others gather supplies. Moving together matters. One person starts a steady rhythm by hitting a stick against a log. Another joins. Soon everyone walks in time. Without realizing it, they're conserving energy. Studies today show that people walking or rowing in synchronized rhythms use less effort than individuals moving independently. Even your body becomes more efficient when it shares a rhythm with others. Apparently, your ancestors accidentally discovered teamwork's cheat code, and they weren't the only species using rhythm. Birds sing elaborate songs. Whales produce melodies lasting hours. Some species of seals can even copy simple tunes. Cockatoos have been recorded dancing to music while adjusting their movements to the beat. Honestly, if you've ever felt embarrassed dancing at a party, just remember, a bird figured it out first, but human music became something completely different. Animals mostly use sound to attract mates, mark territory, or warn of danger. Humans, we turned it into celebrations, funerals, religious rituals, love songs, national pride, movie soundtracks that somehow make superheroes punching aliens feel emotional. We've attached meaning to sound in ways almost no other species can. Around 40,000 years ago, something incredible appeared in Europe. A small flute, carved from bird bone. Scientists discovered several of these ancient instruments inside caves in Germany. Some still have carefully drilled finger holes. When researchers recreated them, they actually worked. Imagine that. Someone sat in an Ice Age cave, surrounded by mammoths, and decided, you know what this place needs? A flute solo. Human priorities have always been fascinating. These ancient flutes tell us something important. Music wasn't invented after civilization. It existed tens of thousands of years before farming, before cities, before writing, before history itself, which means music wasn't a luxury. It was already part of what made humans human. But there was still one huge leap left. Rhythm united people, melodies comforted babies, simple instruments entertained small groups. Then one unexpected discovery transformed music forever. It wasn't a new instrument. It wasn't a new song. It was something much more powerful. Humans realized they could tell stories through music. And once that happened, there was no going back. Music didn't stop evolving after someone carved the first flute. If anything, that was just the beginning. Because once humans realized sounds could carry emotion, they started carrying something even bigger. Stories. Imagine sitting around a campfire 20,000 years ago. The sun has disappeared. Predators are somewhere beyond the firelight. Children gather around the oldest member of the tribe. He doesn't have a book. He doesn't have paper. Writing won't exist for another 15,000 years. Everything the tribe knows lives inside people's heads. Which plants are poisonous? Where the rivers flood? Which animals migrate during winter? How to make fire? Who your ancestors were? Lose those stories. And the tribe loses its memory. So humans found an incredibly clever solution. They turned information into songs. This sounds strange today, but even now, it's much easier to remember lyrics than a random paragraph. You probably know songs you haven't heard in years, yet you forget someone's name about 6 seconds after they tell you. Our brains absolutely love patterns, melodies, rhymes, rhythms. Music became humanity's first hard drive. Long before books, knowledge survived because people could sing it. Anthropologists have found cultures where entire histories, stretching back hundreds of years, were preserved almost entirely through music. Generation after generation, parents taught children, children taught grandchildren. No libraries, no internet, just voices. Music didn't simply entertain ancient humans, it stored civilization. Then something unexpected happened. Humans started making instruments out of almost anything. Animal bones became flutes, hollow logs became drums, seeds became rattles, animal horns became trumpets. If it could make noise, someone eventually tried turning it into music. Apparently, prehistoric humans had exactly the same mindset as modern toddlers. If it makes a sound, I'm going to hit it. And every new instrument expanded what music could do. Louder drums could coordinate larger groups. Long-distance horns could send signals across valleys. Ceremonial music strengthened communities. Before written laws, shared songs helped create shared identities. Entire societies began moving to the same rhythm. Then agriculture arrived. People stopped constantly moving. Villages became towns. Towns became cities. And suddenly, thousands of strangers lived together. Music became even more important. Festivals, religious ceremonies, celebrations, funerals, coronations. Nearly every major moment in human life became connected to music. Not because anyone passed a law saying it should, but because humans had been doing it for tens of thousands of years already. Civilization simply inherited the habit. Modern neuroscience has revealed something extraordinary. When musicians perform together, researchers have observed their brain activity becoming synchronized, literally synchronized, different brains, beginning to behave in remarkably similar ways. Think about that. Thousands of years ago, humans believed music brought people together. Today, brain scanners suggest they were right, in a very literal sense. And here's perhaps the strangest fact of all. Scientists still don't fully understand why music affects us so deeply. They know what happens inside the brain. They can measure dopamine. They can watch neurons firing. They can see emotional centers becoming active, but they still can't completely explain why a particular sequence of sounds can make someone smile or cry or remember a moment from 20 years ago. Music remains one of neuroscience's greatest mysteries, which brings us back to where we started. Music doesn't feed you. It doesn't build shelter. It doesn't stop predators. At least, not directly. Instead, it built something even more powerful: trust, cooperation, memory, identity, community. Those things kept our ancestors alive, and music quietly strengthened every single one of them. It's funny when you think about it. One prehistoric human probably started tapping a stick against a log simply because they were bored. Another joined in, then another. Nobody stood up and announced, "Today, we shall invent music." They were just making noise. But evolution noticed something. Groups that laughed together, moved together, sang together, often survived together. Generation after generation, our brains became wired to enjoy rhythm, to crave melody, to feel emotion through sound. Today, music follows us everywhere. In elevators, in movies, at weddings, at funerals, during workouts, long road trips. Even while we're shopping for groceries, we've filled our entire world with organized sound. And most of us never stop to wonder why. So the next time a song gets stuck in your head, or gives you goosebumps, or instantly transports you back to a memory you thought you'd forgotten, remember, you're experiencing something far older than civilization, older than farming, older than writing, possibly even older than language itself. You're listening to one of humanity's oldest inventions, an invention nobody actually meant to create, a happy accident that quietly helped shape the human species, and somehow, thousands of years later, it's still playing.